Hey guys, it's History Behind the Warrior and welcome to another Mortal Kombat video. Now in today's debate and topic video, we'll be talking about the eternal rivals within the series, Scorpion and Sub-Zero, and be discussing who arguably has the better story in the entire series. As the Mortal Kombat series has gone on for a significant amount of time, and the two characters are very intertwined with each other, but do at one point in both timelines somewhat separate and go off in their own different directions. So in today's video, I'll be discussing how they're so intertwined, what led to them making peace, and that how by doing so they've gone off in their own direction and done their own thing. And then by the end of the video I'll be talking about which character has arguably been handled better. Now I'm gonna say this now because these characters have a huge fan base. I have no bias for either of these characters. I actually like them very much so equally. So by actually doing this I can judge them fairly. Anyway, without any further ado, let's get right on to the video. Now let's go back to the very beginning. Where did their rivalry kind of start from? Well, in the original timeline, the original Scorpion and Sub-Zero are assigned a mission by Quan Chi, one that will put them in the crosshairs of each other. And as we all do know, Sub-Zero is able to kill Scorpion, which does spark their blood feud in the original timeline. In the reboot, it is altered, where Scorpion was not only killed by Sub-Zero, but Quan Chi also framed him for the murder of the Shirai Ryu clan, something which doesn't actually happen in the original timeline up until the 4th Mortal Kombat game. So there are some subtle differences in both timelines. Now in the first Mortal Kombat tournament, Scorpion is able to get his revenge by killing the first Sub-Zero, which in turn leads up to his younger brother picking up the mantle. Now in both timelines, the second Sub-Zero is chasing after Scorpion. In the original timeline, Scorpion doesn't actually want to fight the second Sub-Zero, but in the rebooted timeline, Scorpion seemingly has no problem with killing him, and this spills over into the third game. Now the fourth installment is where things really do change up. During the fourth Mortal Kombat game, after Hanzo learns that Sub-Zero, I'm using air quotes by the way, killed his family, he has a personal vendetta against them and chases after him, ultimately defeating him. Now before he actually kills the younger Sub-Zero, he's confronted by Quan Chi, who notifies him that he's been played by him the entire time. So Scorpion would turn against his master, and in a weird way this would actually bring an end to the rivalry between Scorpion and Sub-Zero in the original timeline. Although no words are spoken between the two, it seems like from this point onwards they no longer interact with each other unless it's for some form of promotion for the game. So now what does Scorpion do from this point onwards? Well, Scorpion chases Quan Chi across the realms attempting to gain his revenge. That is until he's overpowered by a pair of Oni and is thrown into a Solnado. Now just before his destruction, he would be saved by the Elder Gods and given the opportunity to redeem himself by becoming their champion. As around this time Onaga had risen and someone did need to kill him, and Scorpion just so happened to have been that choice. Now although Scorpion wasn't successful in doing so, he did somewhat get his reward from the Elder Gods, which was the revival of the Shirai Ryu clan. But of course, since it is a Scorpion story, he does get screwed over in some form of way, and the Shirai Ryu are resurrected as Hellspawn warriors, so they weren't brought back in their human forms, something that he believed was guaranteed by the Elder Gods, and thus would turn against them during the events of Armageddon. Now on Sub-Zero's side, he would take control of the Lin Kuei by defeating Sector and reform the Institute back to its old ways. And whilst recruiting new members for the Lin Kuei, he would come across Frost, the only individual he had come across that had similar abilities to his own. So he would raise her and attempt to mold her into a better being, as Frost did have quite the temper. Now unfortunately this did fail, however he still continued to remain in control of the Lin Kuei and try to better the Institute over time. Now eventually he would catch word of his brother Bi-Han apparently walking on the same plane of existence as him. Now Sub-Zero would attempt to reach out to his older brother, but was instead found with a cold reply, as his brother had now become the individual known as Noob Saibot, a being who was tainted by Quan Chi's dark magic. And thus a rivalry and battle would break out between the brothers, with the battle concluding at Mortal Kombat Armageddon's Conquest mode, in which Noob Saibot is defeated and Sub-Zero attempts to purify his soul. But as we all do know, this plan does fail in the long run, as Sub-Zero and Noob Saibot do resurface during the Battle of Armageddon at the bottom of the Pyramid of Argus. Now before we get onto the new timeline, let's talk about the old one and how the characters were handled, because there are pros and cons to each of them. Scorpion in the original timeline just seems to have a vengeance story arc, one where he simply wants to kill those who have wronged him, which is understandable, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm a bit of a sucker for those type of stories. However, in saying that, Scorpion comes across as very one-dimensional in this timeline. We understand that he cares about his family and wants to right the wrongs that have been done to him. However, doing this over the sequence of 7 different games, with the only thing changing is your target, you can't help but feel like the character is a little bit too one-dimensional. There is no evolution in the character outside of his whole vengeance story arc, and in a universe that is constantly moving forward, with people tackling new and different story arcs and characters, Scorpion just kind of sits in this very weird middle ground, where it seems like they're too scared to try and have him approach something different, because that isn't what Scorpion does. However, if we're comparing it to someone like Sub-Zero, this character has notably gone through a few arcs in the original timeline, wanting to fight and kill Scorpion, then wanting to reclaim the Lin Kuei, reforming the Lin Kuei for the benefit of all of the realms, attempting to become a teacher, and finally attempting to reunite with his brother. Sub-Zero in terms of Scorpion in the original timeline has definitely been written better. He's just given more things to do and is able to be fleshed out a lot more because of that. We're able to see more emotions and dimensions out of this character, instead of Scorpion who's continuously chasing after the same plot. And although it is most certainly one I really enjoy, Scorpion can't help but feel like the same character continuously being rehashed game after game. Now, in saying that, there's actually a lot of changes in the new timeline that really do help Scorpion as a character. Now, after being released from Quan Chi's control, Scorpion goes on a kind of redemption story arc for himself. Feeling the guilt for all of the pain he had caused under his Scorpion alias, he nearly does take his life until he is approached by Kenshi. With the blind man's assistance, Hanzo is able to reclaim and become the individual he used to be before he became a Hellspawn. And from this point onwards, he actually rebuilds the Shira Ryu, restarting his clan all over again. But most importantly, becoming a father figure to Takeda. It's ultimately the bond between Takeda and Hanzo that's really built up throughout the story. We get to see a side to Hanzo we've never seen before. He isn't just a mentor, but now he is a father-like figure. He's trying to guide the new generation and create a better future for them, even sacrificing his life in one instance and being forced to confront his own demons. This adds so many layers to the character that we've never seen before, and it really did help redefine the character, as he was dragged down by his constant vengeance story arc. Now, in saying that, it's not like he doesn't leave that whole persona behind, because in MKX he does get his revenge and does kill Quan Chi, which hopefully does mean that it will spark an end to this whole vengeance story arc that he's been in a cycle of. Now, Sub-Zero in this timeline does follow very similar steps to that of the original, and thus because of that I can't necessarily compare the two. Sub-Zero's retreading the same steps, whereas Scorpion is going in a new direction, and it's one that does flesh out his character more. So if we're going clearly by just story here, Scorpion in a new timeline definitely seems to be more developed than that of Sub-Zero, so he does have a better and much more intriguing storyline. So that kind of does wrap it up, guys. In the original timeline, Sub-Zero was able to be developed and given a facelift that Scorpion unfortunately couldn't reach, as it just felt like he was retreading the same steps again and again. However, in the new rebooted timeline, Scorpion is given a facelift and he's returned back to his Hanzo Hasashi form. And although not everyone is behind this, there's no denying that he has much more character now than he did back then, and it's nice to see more dimensions added to his character, because Scorpion and Sub-Zero are two iconic faces within the series. For the longest amount of time, it was Sub-Zero that was very well developed, and it's nice to see that Scorpion now has a foundation under him that really does help bring out his character more. But yeah, that more or less does wrap it up for this video, guys. I do hope you've enjoyed this video and understood the evolution of these characters over the course of time. Anyway, guys, before this video wraps up, if possible, let's try getting it to about 500 likes. It's a great way of supporting this channel since YouTube's ad system is broken as hell. By giving it a thumbs up, it helps out a ton. And if you want to go the extra step, we also have a Patreon set up, and a link for it will be down in the description below. Anyway, guys, as always, please comment, like, subscribe, and share this video with everyone you know. Please take care, and I'll see you all next time.